No! I really gotta get that miter saw bench built. Yes, my miter station is still sitting in the corner on its original manufacturer's stand. It definitely needs a new cabinet.
The starting point for my miter station cabinet, just like many other projects, the first thing to do is to break down some sheet goods. Now, I designed my 20 by 18 shop so that I could cut down a full sheet of plywood, a full 4 by 8 sheet of plywood, all by myself. I also bought a slider attachment for my table saw, which enables me to manhandle 4 by 8 sheets of material, all on my lonesome. And I despise chasing sheets around on the floor, having to get on my knees and use a track saw to cut it. So this is the way that I do it. I can also turn that 4 by 8 sheet sideways, as well as rip them. I can also cross cut them. Yeah, I have to move a toolbox to do it, but using the handy attachment and the slide on the table saw, I still managed to get it done fairly easily. Once the sheet goods are broken down, I can take the partition sections over to the bandsaw and create the cutouts for the toe kick and all of the stretchers that are going to hold the partitions into place. Once I finished my pizza flipping, on the bandsaw, back over to the table saw, these are the stretchers that I'm cutting that will hold the partitions in place. Just ironically, they're exactly 8 feet long. So with the stretchers all cut, I line them all back up, and I use a technique called storyboarding. So I run identical square lines on all of the stretchers, and that will give me the indication marks as to where each of the partitions should be placed. If I do it the same spacing for all of them, it'll match up and be square evenly. Time to assemble the jigsaw puzzle. Glue is applied to the partitions, and the stretchers are then drilled, countersunk, and screwed to the partitions, and all lined up with the storyboard marks.
Okay, here we are. Carcass is in place. I'm just about to screw it in, but I've done all kinds of leveling, cross leveling, and it worked out pretty good actually. I only needed 1/8 inch shim underneath that left front corner, and it all butts up against the wall and whatnot. Thank goodness for relatively square walls and relatively level floors. So the process so far, I've gotten the top supports in and the back supports that go into the wall and the kicker. One of my ideas and plans is that I didn't put a piece on the top because any dust that goes into the cabinets, I kind of want it to follow the bottom so I can sweep it up. So I'm just about to, now that I get it all leveled, screw it into the wall. So just to show you kind of my design and my thought process on this is that we're going to have a bunch of drawers. Well, the end one is going to be for storage rack for vertical things such as jigs and table saw jigs and stuff like that. A set of drawers. I'm going to cut out that toe kick. We will have a garbage can in there. And the very end one is where the miter saw is going to sit. And you can see it's dropped the 4 inches there. So in order to accommodate the maximum length of material that I can cut in the shop, I put the miter saw pretty much in the center of the shop, which happens to be on the right end of the cabinet. So now I can cut pretty much an 8-foot piece into the corner and an 8-foot piece into this end.
So we have the carcass all screwed in place, just waiting for some drawers. So I guess it's time to start making some drawers. When I broke down the sheet goods, all of the drawer pieces are all cut to width already. I just need to do some final cutting to length. So what I'm cutting here is all of the sides, so both the ends and the sides for each of the 9 drawers. And so we have a pile of drawer bits. waiting to be assembled. On to the next tedious process. So in order to allow room in the drawer sides and ends for the floating 1/2-inch bottom panel, section of plywood that I'll be inserting there, I need to break out my dado stack, my Freud dado stack, install that on the table saw, and cut in each and every one of the side and end pieces some 1/2-inch rabbets. It was a bit of a tedious process. Sped it up here a little bit for your entertainment purposes. You're welcome.
Okay, ready to go here. I got my rabbits all cut in the ends and the sides, and the bottom pieces are all cut to fit. I do this a little differently. I don't do any joinery in the side of the cabinets. They're shop cabinets. It's going to go pretty quick, and I like to let the bottom free float. I use a 1/2-inch plywood in the bottom, and I like to let it free float just for expansion and contraction. So all it gets is some glue, some nails, and a quick clamp. Let's fly at it. Up. Brad nail just to hold it in place. Brad nail to hold it in place. One side done. Do the far end. I like to just throw a quick clamp on it. Just to let her set up and dry. That's it. One down, 3, 6, 7, 8 more to go. So the shop is in total and complete disarray. I hate it. I gotta get going. Let's get some drawer slides on here. I'm a drawer slide on the bottom of the drawer kind of guy. I find it just makes it easier to initially put the drawer slides onto the drawers. So I just line the bottom up, extend the first section so that it lines up with the end of the drawer. And then I line the bottom up like so. Drive your first screw. Making sure that the bottom is still lined up. Drive the second of the series of screws. And you can take the runner right off, separating the two halves of the slider. putting the last of them in. I like to use the vertical adjustment slot, so that way I can do any final adjustments up and down once I get them sitting in the cabinet. And so I thought I'd run you through the process that I use for attaching my runners to the cabinet, the drawer slides. So I like to use shims wherever possible, and the reason why I put the drawer slides on the bottom of the drawers, because it sure makes it easier when you're actually putting on your drawer slides. So for this one, I'm doing a space frame on the front, and because of that, I wanted to get my openings a little bit wider than typical. So I've added a couple of shims, or a few shims, inside the cabinet, as you can see here, here, and here. And then I will further shim it out with a piece of wood that the track can go onto. What I do is I use my shim on top of the drawer that's underneath the previous drawer, and basically that's going to be the distance between the two shelves, or I should say drawers. I line it up flush with the front. I'll stick one nail in there. I glue it, as you saw. One nail in there. Make sure we're all looking good there. And I'll add a few more nails. Okay, that's it for the nailing. And then, makes it real simple, you just take the drawer slide itself, get it in the right position. I flush it with the front again, and add my screws. So I leave that little shim in place there. Sorry, puppy. It's one. It's two. And you can add 3 or 4, whatever the manufacturer of the drawer slide recommends. In the appropriate holes that the manufacturer recommends. That's it. You take the shim out, and that's how I put my drawer slides in place. And then it's just a matter of popping the drawer into the slides once you got all of the spacers removed. Always hard the first time you put them in. Et voila. Excellent. And there we have the Carcass 3 sets of cabinet drawers, all awaiting a top and a face frame.
In order to form a strong top for the countertop, I laminated several pieces of 3/4 inch plywood together, so it'll be nice and good and strong, and also give me some meat for cutting in a rabbet for the T-track system I want to use. So the first section there, I was just trimming up one edge, and then we're over to the table saw. Now that I have an edge that's all flush with each other, I can trim it on the table saw to make a nice parallel top. Once I had my top all flush trimmed and I was happy with the shape and fit and finish of it, I was able to attach it using screws. So holes were drilled, holes were countersunk, and then screws applied to the stretchers to attach the countertop.
Unfortunately, this video is getting kind of long, so you're going to have to click on part 2 over there, or over there, or just find it. Go to my channel, you'll find it.
If you appreciate my time and effort, please subscribe. It means a lot.